I need to be honest and tell you from my perspective, having been involved for a long time, having known all the officers of the Greenville County Party, including Nate Boyd, the former chairman, you know, when I saw that the election had been conducted, I had no reason to believe a lot of the stories I was hearing and the fears I heard about wrongdoing. Just telling you honestly, I was skeptical. So I went into it with an open mind, as I think the committee did, and now we've made these findings. And I was very disappointed as I went through the process that we got information sort of in drips and drabs. I learned at times that some of the information given to me earlier on didn't match up with some of the information I learned later on. For example, to the extent you've read the report, we now know that there were 360 people who didn't pay the registration fee. That did not include me. I went to a precinct meeting on March the 22nd when most everybody else did. I filled out the form. It never occurred to me where the line says put in your name that I'm not going to put in my name, or where it says put in your email address that I wouldn't put in my email address or my telephone number. I mean, just basic information. So I filled out the form and I got my check, and I wrote a check for $35 because I wanted to be a delegate to the convention and I wanted to have my name on the ballot to go to the next level. Now, as it turns out, I was not elected as a delegate to the state convention, and that's the first time in many years that has happened. But it didn't happen because, primarily, I was on a part of the GCGOP.com, and that group voted very tightly as a bloc for their own political reasons, and were very successful in obtaining something like, I think, 75 of the 79 delegate slots, something in that range, and I was not part of that group. Of course, I wasn't thrilled that I wasn't a delegate, but I was pretty doggone impressed with the organizational efforts of the folks that were able to do that. That was very successful in terms of how that worked out. But what I wanted to say about the process is we learned that all these people, 360 apparently, didn't pay a registration fee. That was really troubling to me when I learned that fact. But what I was initially told, because I didn't know, when I was appointed to this committee, I did not know that fact. I knew nothing about that whole process that occurred. I just went to my meeting, did what I was supposed to do, paid my fee, I was done. I didn't come to the makeup meeting. There wasn't a reason for me to come to the makeup meeting. Plus, we were instructed that people who attended the March 22nd reorg were not supposed to come to the makeup meeting, I think primarily because of limitations on space with the COVID issues and all that. But for whatever reason, I did something else that night. So I didn't know anything about this stuff that I'm now reporting on that I have studied over these last couple of months. But when I was first told that there was an anonymous donor that covered the fees, I was surprised by that. But follow me on this. There is no rule anywhere that says the individual, there's no rule that says the individual has to pay the fee individually. Now, the fee has to be paid for you to be a delegate, but there have been situations where a third party has paid the fee for a delegate. So that's where that went. But then what I learned as we went through this, what I learned was when I was told that, well, some donor, you know, this anonymous donor that's doing all this good work for us is going to provide the delegate fees for the delegates from Greenville County for the Republican convention. What I learned is that was not true across the board. There wasn't just a blanket donation that was made such that everybody could go for free. If that had been true, for those of you who went to the April 6th makeup meeting, you would have heard an announcement, something like, put away your checkbooks, money's not needed, fees are covered, so you're not going to need any money. But there was no, did anybody hear that type of announcement? So the point is, what we have learned is the only people that had their fees paid were those voters in Greenville County who were signed up between the reorganization meeting and the makeup meeting by agents of the party who were obviously out to sign up folks who were in opposition to the GCGOP. That's exactly the people who had the fees paid.